Hi, my name's Chris Severs. I'm here today to talk to you about training senior population, 50 plus people, people who are really looking for mobility, quality of life, a capability of doing everyday activities. A lot of times they have, either they're very untrained or sometimes they have injuries that they've accumulated over the years that they've got to work through. A great way to train this population and work with this population is working with anchor point training tools. Anchor point training tools either leverage body weight with suspension or using elastic resistance and moving resistance through a range of motion. Both extremely time-effective approaches, very scalable approaches, very progressible approaches to training. Seniors and older people like them. They don't have to get up down on the ground. They're not straining under a lot of weight and picking things up and feeling awkward. This is a very user-friendly approach to fitness, very scalable, as I said. And once people get the hang of various movements and motions, it's very, very progressible. Let me give you a couple of examples. For starters, when we're talking about training with suspension, this is leveraged body weight. Ways to create the amount of resistance that we need simply by positioning our feet closer or further away from the anchor point. So if our feet are closer to the anchor point, we have more resistance. So you can see there the push-up has a certain amount of resistance there. If I move a little further away, it has a certain amount of resistance there. It's very, very scalable, the amount of resistance you can use, and your clients can progress just in terms of intensity simply by moving their feet further or closer to the anchor point. The other thing that is nice about this in terms of the scalability is that you're dealing with two straps that are very mobile. They don't have to stay always in the same position. You can move them out into different angles and create lots of different angles of work simply by moving the handle. So there's a lot of inherent versatility in how the hands move, how the upper body moves while you're working with this. The other thing, of course, again, because you're standing on your feet, as you can see in this press here, in this push-up, the entire body's engaged, my core is engaged, and if I want to add legs into this, there are lots of different ways I can do it. For example, I can simply be doing in a half push-up, I can be doing knee raises. I can move down into a squat and then maybe come up like that and then down into a push-up. I can lunge forward and do the push-up. So right away you can see how with this type of force it's very easy to move your legs while you're creating an upper body movement and create full body fitness, get a high work rate without overworking anything. This allows you to maintain a consistent rate of work through a workout and over a period of 20 minutes, half an hour, get a full body workout that's extremely dense and time effective. So just so you can see, when you're working in a row position, same idea. You're in a plank, and the closer your feet are to the anchor, for example, the more resistance you've got to work with. So less resistance here. As you get stronger, you can move closer, get more resistance. You can see again that you can work these handles in all kinds of different dimensions, whether they're horizontal, vertical, underhand. You can also, this is a lovely approach here where you get a little breath going, and you can see here so you can see how you can create a nice rhythm to the work, add breath work to these various movements as you're working various ranges of motion, because you have this inherent versatility in the handle itself. In this row position, some interesting ways to incorporate more leg work, for example, is to squat and then row. And again, you can row concentrating on the upper back and squeezing those shoulder blades together, or you can bring that into a vertical orientation. Another nice variation is a lunge and up, and then a side lunge and up. And this one here is quite a nice combination of moves with the lunges and the row. Is to go into your back lunge here, underhand, and when you come up, side lunge here, You can see how you can create a certain amount of choreography with resistance, moving your legs. So you progress to that once you've accomplished the basic press, the basic row, the basic lunge. Then there's lots of different ways you can create movements, flow movements, that are going to increase the effectiveness of your workout. Every time you learn a new movement, you are creating a new neuromuscular pathway in your brain. This is like doing a crossword puzzle. It's like playing bridge. It's good exercise for your brain as well. So creating your better fluidity through more movements is not only good for your body, but it's actually good for your brain as well, good for cognition. Elastic resistance, whole other sort of force. Here, instead of moving your body weight against gravity and leveraging it, you're actually moving resistance through a plane of motion. So you can see here, for example, we'll start again with the press. So now, instead of leaning into this with the body weight, now my legs need to be stable. I need to have good resistance, and now I'm pressing the resistance here. You can see that it's a very, very simple press. You can see once you're comfortable with that, again, nice square stance, and because the anchor is high, I've got a press that I can make that is nice and down. If I put the anchor for this piece here at the mid-height, I could obviously press straight ahead. If it was low, I could press high up like that. So lots of inherent versatility in the entire approach. Now, as you get into this type of thing here, once you're comfortable with that and you're feeling stable, you can then change stances. You can work with lunges. You can work alternate lunges. You can work simply on one side, where you're holding out this side. If I'm working with two handles and I want to work with both sides, I often will keep one side out, hold that isometrically so I have the resistance, and then work the contralateral side. You can see how this approach is inherently contralateral in its nature. That is, or it certainly allows for lots of contralateral movements. Another approach you can see in a row here. Again, you can see how these handles are so, the resistance is so versatile. So this is that row I was showing you earlier. Now, with the bands, you can do all kinds of other interesting pulling movements, right? Different directions, different ways. You can add rows to it, so you can work in all kinds of different ranges of motion. It doesn't always have to be straight pulling in all different dimensions. You can definitely get lots of variety going, and then you can add movement. So you can see how you can get lots of interesting pulling work going while you're moving your legs, while you're getting agility, while you're moving side to side. All these various lunges that we do are all super for balance. Anytime we're having to move forward and get into this position, taking a side position, these types of things, improving, again, neuromuscular connections, the ability of our legs to work at a lot of different angles, definitely going to be improving mobility and balance as well. So you can see from these two simple approaches here how versatile anchor point training can be for training anybody for functional training. But I put to you that when it comes to training seniors who don't like to get on the ground, don't like to particularly lift weights, like to be standing up, like to think of functional ranges of motion, this is extremely good approach. The other thing that's interesting about this is once you know how to do it, once you've taught somebody how to do this well, when they have the equipment, they can train this way at a very high level anywhere, at home, anywhere they've got a strong anchor. They can anchor this type of gear on a doorway, you know, on a fence, on a light pole, on a tree. It really is go anywhere, go everywhere fitness. Thanks for watching the video. Cheers.